I want you to think about a number, just one number. But this number, it completely changes how we think about the line between life and death.
That number is 17. Yeah, 17. For 17 straight minutes, a man had no heartbeat. And in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into a story that it pushes the absolute limits of what we thought was possible. And it all comes down to this one staggering number.
All right, so where does our story begin? Well, it kicks off like a lot of these do, with something sudden, something catastrophic. You have a middle-aged guy who, out of nowhere, just collapses. And his heart, it just stopped.
And when I say stopped, I mean stopped. To be blunt, the situation was about as bad as it could possibly get. We're talking no pulse, no blood circulating, and those little electrical sparks that make your heart beat, gone. From a medical standpoint, every single sign of life had just vanished.
So there's a term for this, right? Clinically dead. And it's really important we get what this actually means. It's not just some phrase for TV dramas. No, it's a very precise medical state. It's the official starting line where doctors think, okay, a real recovery from this point, it's pretty much impossible. This is ground zero. This is when the clock starts ticking.
But, the medical team didn't just stand there. They fought back, and they fought back hard, immediately. We're talking paramedics and doctors throwing the entire playbook at him. Non-stop chest compressions, pure oxygen, a cocktail of powerful drugs, and shock after shock from the defibrillator. They were desperately trying to get that silent heart to just do something.
And you have to understand, this wasn't just about restarting a heart. It was way more than that. This was a frantic, desperate race against a biological clock. And that clock, it has absolutely no mercy.
And here's why. We're up against this terrifyingly small window of time. We're talking just 4 to 6 minutes. That's it. After that, without oxygen, the brain's delicate cells just start to die off. And the odds of that person ever coming back as themselves, they don't just go down, they absolutely plummet.
So look at this timeline. It really shows you just how insane the stakes were. That window for avoiding brain damage, it slams shut around the 6-minute mark. But 10 minutes go by, still nothing. 15 minutes, still no heartbeat. I mean, they were so far past the point of no return. They were in a territory where a good outcome, it just doesn't happen.
And yet, after all that time, after 15 minutes of just nothing on the monitor, something completely, totally unexpected happened. 17 minutes in, a tiny flicker of electrical activity appears on the screen, then another, a little stronger, and then his heart starts beating again, on its own. I mean, this wasn't just a win for the medical team. This was a moment that completely defied all the odds, all the statistics, and pretty much everything the doctors had ever seen in their careers.
So you can imagine everyone was bracing for the worst. The medical expectation was crystal clear. Look, even if he survives this, he's almost certainly going to have massive, life-altering brain damage. But the reality? Well, the reality turned out to be something else entirely. A few days later, he woke up. And he wasn't just breathing. He was conscious. He knew where he was. His memories, all there, intact.
Now, it's easy to call this a miracle, right? But this stunning outcome wasn't supernatural. It wasn't a miracle in that sense. What it was a case of human biology being pushed to its absolute mind-blowing limit.
So that's the big question, isn't it? The one that baffled everyone. How on earth did he not only survive, but survive intact? So let's try to break it down. What were the scientific factors that all had to line up just right to make this incredible thing happen?
Okay, so there are a few key things. First up, that CPR was relentless. It was constant. It was perfect. And that manual pumping forced just enough oxygenated blood up to the brain to kind of keep the lights on, to stop the cells from dying off completely. Second, he got to a hospital with top-notch care. Really advanced stuff. They used techniques like controlled cooling to slow down his brain's metabolism, which basically meant it didn't need as much oxygen. And then there's a third factor, and this one's a little more mysterious. Some researchers are starting to think that some people might just have a unique, undiscovered physiological resilience, like they're just built tougher. All these things together, they created just enough of a buffer to make the impossible possible.
But let's be clear. Even with all those factors in place, surviving 17 minutes with no heartbeat is still extraordinary. Science can explain some of the how, but it doesn't take away from how absolutely incredible this whole thing was. It's a total outlier, a 1 in a million shot. It's really a testament to what's possible, even when it's wildly improbable.
So, what's the bigger picture here? What does this all mean? Well, this one case sent massive ripples through the entire medical community. It really forced them to rethink some fundamental ideas.
And the big lesson, the key takeaway for every doctor, every paramedic out there, was a simple but powerful one. And it was backed by this incredible real-world result. Don't give up too soon. Keep fighting. Because the absolute limit of what the human body can handle, it might be way further out than any of us think.
And really, it all comes down to this idea. The line between life and death is not as fixed as we think. That says it all, doesn't it? That hard, solid line we all imagine separates being alive from not. Maybe it's not a line at all. Maybe it's more like a blurry, hazy border that we're only just beginning to understand.
So a case like this, it just forces you to ask a much bigger question. I mean, if the human body can pull this off, what else can it do? What other mysteries of our own resilience are just sitting there, waiting for us to discover them, right at the edge of what we currently believe is possible?